Here are my top 10 worst superhero projects of 2024.
At number 10 is Lego Avengers Mission Demolition. Truthfully, this isn't even bad. It's just that I'm not the target audience, and compared to everything else I've seen, this just kind of ended up in this position. At number 9 is Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. This is the only part of the trilogy that doesn't fully focus on Crisis, and what it does focus on I don't think is as interesting. I also just really started feeling the low budget that this movie has telling this big story. At number 8 is Craven the Hunter, a movie that doesn't use its R rating as much as I thought it would. Aaron Taylor Johnson is a fun presence in this movie, but doesn't really play Craven the Hunter, and there's a lot of points in this movie where it just stops or gets kind of boring. At number 7 is Madam Web, a genuinely sick idea for a movie, but just not done to its fullest potential. There isn't much use of superpowers here, which really slows down the action. There's some weird additions to the lore here, and the movie isn't a great origin for Madam Web and all the other Spider-Women. At number 6 is Green Lantern Secret Origins. This is a fan film that looked like it had potential, but it was really short. Everything happened too quickly. It just jumps from one scene to another with not much to it. At number 5 is The Umbrella Academy Season 4. Easily the worst season of the show. There was literally nothing interesting going on, and everything the siblings were doing here of the overall story of the season was just boring. At number 4 is Agata All Along, a show about a character that didn't need her own show. What the show was doing with the Witch's Road and the trials, I didn't find fun or interesting at all. I didn't like most of the characters aside from Agatha, and those characters had a decent amount of involvement to which I was completely losing interest in. At number 3 is Ekko, another show about a character that didn't need her own show. What Ekko was teased as and what we saw in the trailers having that Marvel Netflix flavor could have worked, but Ekko completely removed itself from that after the first episode, becoming very uninteresting with its mystical stuff, its setting, and weird handling of Kingpin. At number 2 is What If Season 3, another just underwhelming season of this really great concept for a show. None of the What If episodes were too great, and none of them stood out. The season had a team-up finale like the other two, but here it wasn't even set up from the episodes. It just happened. And at number 1 is Joker Folie à Deux. This was such a boring movie to watch. Nothing worked for me here. It's a musical for the sake of being a musical that gets old real quick. The two main leads have barely any chemistry with each other. It feels like a 15-minute prologue to the first Joker stretched out to a 2-hour movie.